Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Liv. You know, it often feels like over the years, too many offices and agencies became far too lenient. Standards slipped, accountability faded, and a lot of things simply fell through the cracks. That lack of responsibility went on longer than it ever should have, and now many of those issues are being exposed. We've all seen these examples of this lack of accountability, even in everyday situations like dealing with customer service, where respect and professionalism used to be the standard, but now you're met with hostility or indifferences. And that is what brings me to today's topic on how illegals keep their system running. It's operating as a shadow economy. This is an argument that economists and activists speak about because it's a system that functions like a legitimate economy alongside the US official one. It runs parallel to the formal economy with its own rules, cash payments, and tax filing through ITINs or misused Social Security numbers. Hear me when I say many have been trained and coached on how to access these massive benefits, and some use religion through ties with Catholic churches to cover up their criminal behavior. This is no coincidence. No one just stumbles upon this information or figure out how to keep it running off of the radar for so long. Sanctuary cities often partner with nonprofits and advocacy groups that openly provide know your rights training, legal workshops, and pamphlets. This doesn't just explain rights, they also explain what government programs can be accessed even without legal status. Some groups are funded with taxpayer money through grants or contracts. Others are private, nonprofit with political missions to expand immigration protections. Politicians in those areas often signal protection and support by refusing to cooperate with the federal enforcement, which indirectly encourages people to use every gap in the system. Despite strict federal laws, blocking undocumented immigrants from programs like SNAP, Medicaid, SSI, and TANF, except in limited situations, there are targeted exceptions like WIC eligibility for pregnant women and children. Advocacy groups help immigrants understand any legal routes or exceptions to access services lawfully. That often includes helping US born children of undocumented parents access benefits on their own behalf or guiding families through lawful path when available. Many have been working as independent contractors like 1099 workers or a self employed worker. Now, when someone is treated as an independent contractor, they don't go through the I-9 employment verification process. Instead, the business files a 1099 form and report payments made. In this case, the worker can provide an ITIN in place of a Social Security number, and the IRS will accept it for tax reporting purposes. This makes it look as if the person is a small business or a self employed individual, even if in reality they working like an employee. Listen, in my previous video, I mentioned the phrase, they pay taxes. I want to clarify one aspect of that. When illegal immigrants file their income tax return and claim dependents, they don't only claim children living in the US, many also claim children who live in their home country outside of the US and receive large income tax refunds as a result. Now, on the tax and business side, if an undocumented immigrant is paid as a 1099 contractor and file taxes using an ITIN, they're viewed on paper as a self employed individual or small business, as we just discussed. But what they are not telling you is this opens certain doors. For example, they may qualify for some state or local business grants, loans, or programs that don't ask about immigration status. They can often open business accounts, apply for credit, or get loans using an ITIN and proof of income. Some banks and financial institutions accept ITINs in place of a Social Security number for things like mortgages, car loans, and credit cards. This is how many are able to open restaurants, constructions, and other businesses, and also acquire all the necessary equipment thanks to grants and loans. Meanwhile, we're required to follow anti discrimination hiring policies, yet, in some cases, these businesses hire primarily Spanish speaking Hispanics in an English speaking country. This raises concerns about fairness and equal opportunity. This is discrimination in itself. On the immigration law side, even though they look like a legitimate business on paper, they are still not legally authorized to work under federal immigration law. The IRS collecting taxes or a bank issuing a loan doesn't change their immigration status. So once illegals are set up as 1099 contractors with an ITIN, they can tap into some of the same tax, banking, and grant opportunities that legitimate contractors or small businesses can access, even though immigration law says they're not authorized to work. It is not legal under U.S. immigration law for an illegal immigrant to work in the United States, whether as a W 2 employer or as a 1099 independent contractor. U.S. law requires work authorization like a green card, work visa, or certain permits such as DACA to legally perform work in the country. The Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986 made it unlawful to knowingly hire, recruit, or refer a fee on any person not authorized to work in the United States. That applies to employees and contractors. Some businesses try to get around this by classifying illegal workers as independent contractors and paying them with a 1099 with the ITIN number. When the IRS accepts the tax filing, that doesn't make the work itself legal under immigration law. This is very sobering for me because I realized the part I played, not out of ignorance, but out of loyalty. I voted straight Democrat for years until 2015. Many of the major policies that protect illegal immigrants were introduced or expanded by Democratic led states and cities. The truth is, the Democratic Party has been central to creating and maintaining the legal environment that allows sanctuary cities and undocumented participation in the U.S. economy. This could not have ever happened without that level of support. While both parties have played a role in these oppressive systems throughout the history, there is one party in current day that betrayed the trust and loyalty we extended. I'm grateful that I know better now so that I can do better not only for myself but for my family. We were always told to mind our own business, and many Black Americans have historically been kind and accepting towards Hispanics, Latino, and other ethnic groups. Unfortunately, that same kindness hasn't always been returned. But as I've matured and with the help of the Lord, I'm so thankful that God has renewed my mind. This is our country, and I refuse to sit back quietly while illegals try to make our country theirs. This is not Guatemala, Venezuela, Mexico, El Salvador, Haiti, Africa, Jamaica, or any of these other countries. This is the United States of America. I have unborn grandchildren who will inherit this great nation, and that means a great deal to me. My ancestors had me in mind when many of them died for this country, so I will do my part to protect my country from invaders. Although this is frustrating, I trust that it will ultimately work out for God's glory and our good. Okay, things to keep in mind. Payroll W 2 I-10 isn't valid, but sometimes it's misused. Contractors 1099 I-10 is valid on payroll employers, W 2 workers legally, but employers must give a social security number and proof of work authorization on the I-9 form. An I-10 cannot legally be used for payroll in place of the Social Security number, but some employers, knowingly or not, do it anyway, entering the I-10 where a Social Security number should go. This is not compliant with federal law. I hope you found this informative. I would love for you to share your perspective in the comments. Thank you for joining. I hope you consider supporting the channel by subscribing and like this video. I'll see you in the next one.